Greeting to all the students. Welcome to Global Online. And here we are back with our NTA UGC Net Paper 2, that is 2022 batch, a next video with a new topic. And this is the lecture 4th for the management subject which we are going. And in management, we are right now doing unit 3, which is basically about performance management and appraisals. So before we go ahead, a quick announcement for everyone that Global Online has started with the app. You can just go to the Google Play Store. You can download the app. The app's icon is given over here very clearly for your understanding, wherein you can see the content as UGC Management Paper 2, which is consisting of complete video lectures, which includes notes, test series, which will help you to give the mock test, previous year, 5 years previous year question papers in the form of PDF along with the solution key. At the same time, we have a target based preparation so that it will help you to clear your paper 2 also. Paper 2 exclusively, if you are taking, the fees is rupees 7,000, but along with paper 2 you will definitely get paper 1 free of cost. So you can get in touch with us with the given WhatsApp number in case if you have any queries, if you wish to enroll, or if you have certain concerns, you can get in touch with us. We will help you to solve your doubts and queries, and you can go ahead. So now let's start the session for the day. As we said, that a session is basically about what? It is about performance management. So let's first understand what is performance management and what is performance appraisal. So when we say performance management, it is a dynamic process which has to be done as per the situations, as per the resources which are provided to the employees, as per the availability of the leaders, or the way they are being directed, or they are showing the path to the followers. So all these things will be taken into consideration, which makes the management process dynamic. And obviously it has to be continuous. You can't say that this financial year you will do the appraisal and not next, or management, you can say. So it has to be done on a continuous basis. Now it differs, like some organization does it on weekly basis, some does it on monthly basis, some does it on quarterly basis, some does it on yearly or half yearly. So it is all, the liberty is in the hands of the organization, the way they've wanted to do, the way they are comfortable with the availability of the resources. So this will help the organization to bring effectiveness, and it will help to achieve the goal. Once the performance management is done, the outcome of performance management is performance appraisal, which is a periodical event, or you can say which is an annual event, which has a formal review, and it is the last step of your performance management. So performance management ends within performance appraisal. So if I define, I mean to say, if I say that what exactly performance management is. So performance management is nothing but it is a process, as we studied, it is a process which brings in continuous or which is of continuous communication and a feedback between the manager and the employees towards what? Towards the achievement of goal. So from this itself, you can get your meaning or the definition of performance management. So now who is involved and what are the needs? So in performance management, it is not only organization, but the manager, the supervisor, as well as employee. So the organization provides information with the documentation. Supervisor implements on those lines of documentation, provides motivation to the employees, and at the same time provides feedback, provides support in the form of career growth, and helps to increase the compensation. But yes, this has to be taken, in such a way that things work out the way it is planned. So if a supervisor is giving a feedback, but the employee is not ready to accept it or argues with a supervisor, then things are not going to work out. If you only, as an employee, if you see only growth, and if you do not align it with the organizational growth, no one wants you. Along with your growth as an employee, individual employee, you have to relate it with the organizational growth. So it's very, very important to align it, to be on the same lines. If it's not done, then none of you, nor you as an employee, nor the organization is going to get benefited. Now we have performance management goals. Now what is the aim of performance management, you can say, or you can say what is an objective of performance management? So it is basically, as we studied in meaning that it is a communication which happens between the supervisor, manager, or employee. It is provided on it is a feedback on the performance. There has to be a lot of documentation involved in it. The goals should be developmental, progressive, and see, here it is written very clearly, alignment with the planning goals. So what exactly is planned? In that process, the thing should work out, otherwise it does not make any sense. Role. Now, what role does an HR plays in performance management? They participate in the planning, they conduct the job analysis, they understand, the specification, they understand the description. Based on that, they perform the job analysis, which will help the appraiser to understand what was expected and what was delivered. They support the management process as an helping hand. They design the appraisal system. The appraisal system is designed by the HR department. They train and support the managers. They maintain the documentation, which is very, very important. They provide employees the due process, ensures integrity of the system, that is a teamwork, and ensures the compliance and non-discrimination laws. Like, for example, maybe Mr. A as an employee, Mr. A feels that his appraisal has not happened the way it should. Maybe he was expecting a certain percentage of appraisal, say around 15% or 10%, whereas he's been given only 5% of the appraisal. So in such case, what is going to happen, the employee can demand, investigation of the process, wherein the documentations has to be in place, where there has to be non-discrimination laws. So all this needs to be, in place, and that's the reason it is very important to maintain the documents. It is very important to ensure that all the compliances are followed and systems are in place. Then, how this performance management process works out. So first of all, it works out with the prerequisites. What are the prior things which has to be, in place, wherein then planning goes, what exactly, how the things, whom exactly, in what basis is the performance going to be managed. Then the execution takes place, which in the form of implementation. After that, the assessment happens. You can say evaluation happens. And based on the evaluations, the reviews are, given in the form of feedback. And then the performance renewal or recontracting depends. So whether, if it is the employee on a probation period, so it will be decided whether the employee is turning as a liability or the employee is turning as an asset. So that will be decided based on this particular process. So this planning, execution, assessment, it's in the form of evaluation, review in the form of feedback, and then the renewal or the recontracting will be decided. Then, when we go for prerequisites, so basically in prerequisites, planning and job analysis, wherein HR will also help this process very well. When we talk about planning, so it was basically setting the SMART goals, which will definitely help to bring the results, which will change the attitude or behavior and help to give the developmental plans. So when we say SMART goals, so goals can be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be attainable, it has to be realistic, and time bound goals. So you have to set a deadline, you have to bring something which is which can be achieved, which can be thought about. So this all things should be taken into consideration when you are setting the goals, performance goals. Then execution, so wherein the responsibility is shared, commitment is done, communication is done, feedback is done, reinforcement, that is the in the form of encouragement, motivation happens, the resources are provided, and the observation and documentation is in place in the form of what? When we talk about the execution, when we talk about the performance execution, which is taking place in an organization. Then assessment, that is who should appraise, the supervisors, the peer groups, the subordinates, with a 360-degree feedback. Now we have studied this 360-degree feedback for a particular employee, which comes from his peers, which come from his customers, which come from his supervisors, or which comes from his peer, from all this perspective with whom the person deals. So that is called as this 360-degree angle, the complete circle. So here is an employee A. The employee A is in contact with the customers, with the suppliers, with the peer groups, or with his superiors. So everyone will, from every point of view, the appraisal has been considered and the feedback is taken, and then the appraisal will be decided. Now, what about the employees? Should employees do self-appraisal? Yes. And in some organizations, this self-appraisal is a part of your 360-degree appraisal. And yes, it is accepted. It is, done in a very normal way. So it can be, depends upon the organization, whether they have this practice or not. Now, So what are the methods of performance appraisal? So we have, now in some books, like for example, you have divided it into traditional and modern methods. So when we talk about, graphic rating scale, ranking scales, force distribution, or when we talk about the yes, essay method. So these are all your traditional methods. These are all the methods which are, which comes, even the critical incident method, which comes under the traditional method, and the rest of them, that is bars, MBO, that they are 360, which we did now, is comes under the modern method. So now let's understand quickly. So when we talk about rating scales, so graphic rating scales is the one which, where the employee is rated on the scales, that is the scale which shows the criterias can be in any form: the attendance, the attitude, the maybe the dependability, the initiativeness, the output given by the employee. So they are being rated. Ranking method, where the employee is ranked in comparison with the other employee, like for example A in comparison with B. So the comparative parameters are taken. So in one of the parameter, A ranks 2, in that parameter maybe B is ranking 1. So the ranking method, and then it is aggregated and worked out. Force distribution method, so now this is a series actually of the method, we can say, wherein you are, where the rater is forced, to make a choice. So like for example, here there is definitely one of the advantage, that there will be the absence of personal biasness, but the disadvantage is the statements can be wrongly framed. So there is no option but, to forcefully distribute the employees under the categories or the parameters which are set. The critical incident method, this talks about the alertness of the employee. Like for example, some incidents may be enacted. So just to see that how much, like exactly what type of alertness do you have. It's the same as you can say, in the here actually the focus is on the behavior, so that what exactly the behavior an employee has, and the supervisors when record the incidents, and based on that they can evaluate. So the no doubt the evaluation is based on the actual behavior over here, that is very much needed. But it can be, like for example, negative incidents are being prioritized. Okay, sometimes wherein the employee for, may not be, though it is an incident which has been planned out, but maybe he is completely not aware, or he is new to the place, so he may not, he may take time to react. So on that basis we can't judge him. Maybe he's one of the asset, but just one incident cannot prove his capability. So that is what we have under critical incident method. Then we have essay method, wherein the descriptive form of assessment is done with respect to employees, with respect to his attributes, performance should be written in the essay form, which is again one of the traditional form. Now, when we say bars, that is behaviorally anchored rating method, or sorry, anchored rating scale. So in this particular method, effectiveness and ineffective behaviors determines the points. Like for example, they are used so that the behavioral can be anchored properly. So the rater is supposed to say which behavior describes the employee's performance. So yes, no doubt it will help, to overcome the rating errors which is possible in critical incident. But at the same time it will, like for example, some of the techniques may not actually work out in the situation. So that may be one of the disadvantage. And the best form of appraisal as per is management by objectives, wherein the employees, have to take up their own objectives, which is, which they feel that they can definitely I mean to say, they have to manage the objectives, and performance is rated against the achievement of the objectives. So the objectives are decided by the employees itself. They, the standards are set, the employees self initiated, new goals are decided. So this is one of the best method, though it has, it cannot be applicable for all the jobs, a small amount of disadvantage. But yes, from all the method, this is one of the best accepted method of appraisal. Then performance appraisal problems. Yes, now the issues or the concerns can be in the form of, uh, appraiser discomfort, where he's not able to, the parameters or the things are not in place according to him. There is either more strictness or complete leniency is there. the attitude is completely lenient or it is much strict, which should not be, a part of it. Then next is, when we talk about this, we talk about biasness and lack of objectivity is seen in this particular type of is one of the issue when we see, yes, there are some methods which can come up with biasness, there are some methods which can come with lack of objectivity, manipulation is done. Now halo effects, when we talk about, it's like something, halo effect and horn effect. One is the appraisal, I mean to say, it is based, you can say that the tendency to rate is either high or a low, completely high or completely low. Against that, maybe when we say horn effect, it is about a negative quality or a feature which is perceived. Means if you have one negative attribute of an employee, so you, based on that only, you try to appraise him, which is not correct, which is again a part of what, again a part of your issue of your appraisal. Central tendency, where the central attitude of the appraiser is seen, there is normal. So even if the good employee is been treated on an average scale, a recent behavior is can hamper the appraisal. In fact, it should not be done, but some of the appraiser brings this into consideration. And supervisor unable to observe the behavior, he just he may not given sufficient time, and accordingly he can rate the employee in the uh, wrong form. So these are some of the problems or issues which are being faced during the appraisal system. Now, when we talk about, yes, how this appraisal, conducting the performance interview. So like, for example, in order to make it appraisals proper or in a systematic process, you have to explain the purpose, you have to discuss the appraisals, you have to, share the ratings, you have to discuss the developmental plans. You need to, summarize the employees regarding the rewards, if any, follow-up meetings, supervisors recap, appeal. So no doubt this is, the post appraisal, you can say, but things should be very transparent, should be clearly, the appraisal is done, employees should know what exactly they did wrong, what exactly was expected, how to cover up the mistake, and all those things should be clearly explained to them. Then renewal and contracting. So in final step, if it is readjustment is done, or the things are, if you see it in on an improvement level, so definitely the renewal and recontracting can be done based on the results. And yes, problems with assessment or appraisal, what happens is that the obviously we are, the concern is performance, that is improvement, achieving the goals, but linking it with the compensation, which definitely can, where the motivation level of the employees can lack, manager employee do not agree with the results which are sometimes made, management is not, it's reluctant to discuss on any points, no performance documentation is there, means the process is just followed as the namesake, fine a form of process. So this is completely not, correct. If you have a concern, it should be sorted out, it should be communicated, it should be, the solution should be found out. Just doing the things without a reason will definitely not make sense. So yes, if it is not taken, so it can, there can be legal issues, there can be, because of the rater errors or distortions, or there no grievance procedure, untrained raters. So this issues with performance management can, result into a further conflict or in an organization, which will uh, because of which unproductive time, will be, that is productive time will be wasted in unproductive activities. So these things should be stopped, otherwise people will have, no faith, there will be higher retention, higher attrition rate, there will be again and again investment on training, development, recruitment, selection. So this all, if you want to take in place, this should be done in a correct form. So yes, so what are the reasons for this all? So it is, I mean to say, how it can, if it is poorly implemented, just now I said it will result into misleading information, increasing turnover, as I said, waste of time and money, productive time is wasted in unproductive activities, relationship, the networking, there are definitely, they are damaged, there is no motivation at all, there will be job dissatisfaction, risks of litigation, people may definitely come up with, some legal problems also, and unfair standards. So yes, which will hamper, and in at the end it may hamper the reputation of an organization also. So this has to be immediately, worked on. So for that, you need to have a good communication skills, you need to have a proper coaching of your employees, you need to have a very transparent and a systematic form of giving feedback. There has to be empathy, that is understanding towards your employees. There has to be teamwork, if you want to get the things done in a proper form. So yes, that's all which we have learned under performance management. So the next topic which we will be taking after performance management is the OD interventions, or OD, organization development and change. And simultaneously, we are also going to start with marketing. I mean to say, parallelly, I'm going to start with marketing topic also. So one of topic of HR management and one of marketing. So that we have, little bit speed of completing the theory part, and you can get a good amount of time to revise your subject. So thank you, everyone. See you in the next class with a new topic.